All right, old school NBA fans, self-researched NBA facts. I got another video for you. This video is going to be about, again, this channel is all about debunking narratives to combat these idiots who have these talking points, whatever it is. I heard Nick Wright recently make remarks once again about the age of a player. The insinuation being that, oh, well, since this player started right out of high school and he's accumulated more stats, that's got to count for him and is held against the other players. Like a Larry Bird, a 4-year college player, a Michael Jordan, a 3-year college player, Kareem, a 4-year college player. That you cannot compare eras. It's almost like you got to take the first at least 3 years of his career and, don't count it if you're going to compare him against a player from a different era. You take off the beginning of his career, or you bring in what that player did in college. Now, if he played in some small school somewhere, mid-major or something, you may have something there. But when you played in the early 80s in the ACC, Michael Jordan did, then you need to bring this up when talking about what LeBron did in his earlier years. Because Michael Jordan played in the ACC from the 81, 82, 82, 83, and 83, 84 seasons. And in those seasons, there was some good players, tough competition. In 82, Ralph Sampson was in the ACC. He was probably the best college player in the country. He definitely was the next year in 83. There's no doubt about it. Other guys like Thurl Bailey. This is 82 I'm talking about. There were just tons of good players that were playing in there. Like Delaney Rudd. This guy, he only had a 4-year NBA career, but he was a 45% three-point shooter in college. And anyway, 82, North Carolina won the championship. 83, North Carolina State won the championship in the ACC. In 84, Virginia made the Final Four, but they got upset. And later on, 86, Duke won, but a lot of the players, Jordan played against those guys, like Johnny Dawkins and Mark Alari. He was a 3-time All-ACC, only had a 5-year NBA career, but Johnny Dawkins in 84 for Duke, he went on and had a 9-year NBA career. He was the player of the year in 84, the ACC tournament MVP, 4-time All-ACC, 2-time All-American. These were good players. Other guys that were in there in between 82 and 84, Mark Price, John Sally, these guys were good. Othell Wilson was very good for Virginia. There was just good players in there. Len Bias was 2-time All-ACC, 2-time the ACC Player of the Year. That was in 85 and 86, the 2 years after Jordan. He was a 2-time All-American and the ACC Tournament MVP. I think that was in 86. He was all set to be a great pro, no doubt about it. But he died the night of the draft, took some high-octane cocaine or something, and he died. But all I'm saying is, you need to bring in what Michael Jordan accomplished in college if you're going to just discount what he did and say, oh, well, Jordan didn't do this until he was age 23 or 24 or whatever. He was in college against a tough conference. Michael Jordan, in his 3 years at North Carolina, so he'd have been 18, 19, 20, he'd have been 21, between 18 and 21 years old. He averaged 17.7 points a game, 5 rebounds, 1.7 steals, but only played 30 minutes. He wasn't playing 40 and 42 minutes, and it wasn't the NBA with the 24-second shot clock. I don't even think they had a shot clock in the early 80s. That came later. I think it was the late 80s, like a 45-second shot clock. But anyway, so Michael Jordan, like I said, in his career was also a 44.7% three-point shooter and 54% shooter for his college career. Sounds pretty good to me. when he was a sophomore, that was a monster season for Michael Jordan. He averaged 20 points a game on the dot, 5.3 rebounds, I think it was 1.6 assists, 2.2 steals, and 30.9 minutes played. Pretty good, wouldn't you say? And Michael Jordan's career, in 1982, as a freshman, he was the freshman of the year in the ACC. He won the championship. He hit the game-winning shot of the championship. In 1983, he made all ACC first team. He was an All-American as a sophomore. As a junior, All ACC first team, All-American first team, and was the player of the year. That's basically like winning the MVP. Especially considering how many college players there are, you could easily equate being the player of the year in college to being, the MVP, at least the rookie of the year in the NBA. So in 84, even 83, his numbers actually were slightly ahead his sophomore year because he played a couple minutes more or whatever. But you could say, realistically, Michael Jordan's sophomore year, he could have been would have been an all-star in the NBA. There's no doubt about it. But players stayed in college longer, and how can that be held against them? And then finally, right before he goes to the NBA, there's the Olympics in 84. And of course, they win the gold medal. I think they were like 8-0 or 4-0, whatever it was, undefeated. There were some pretty good players. Like Yugoslavia was a good team. They beat pretty much everybody. I think they got upset, actually. But Drazen Petrovic, here's a guy who died young. He was an all-NBA player in the NBA. If you guys don't know who Oscar Schmidt is, man, you should really look him up. He played for Brazil, and this guy was phenomenal. I mean, he was, for his career in international play. Now, back then, it was just basically, the basketball championships. I think it would have been the Goodwill Games who came out like the every other. So if it's 84 for the Olympics, it was like 86 was the Goodwill Games, and then 88 the Olympics, so on and so forth. But in his career, Oscar Schmidt averaged 28.2 points per game and was a 44.6% three-point shooter. This guy was really good. I'm not sure why he never even played in the NBA. I don't know. I can't really find anything on him, but he was great for Brazil. And Germany had Detlef Schrempf, another all-NBA player in the NBA. I mean, there were some pretty good players in there, and they waxed everybody. I think there was one game they didn't win by 30 points. But my point is, that's a nice resume for the first 3 years of your basketball career after high school. Between the college and the gold medal, Michael Jordan, he's got a very nice resume here. The ACC, according to Mike Krzyzewski, he said in that time frame, he said between 1982 and 1986, those 5 years was the best conference of all time. The best college basketball conference of all time. Now, I know there were some Big East ones that were pretty good. I know he's a little biased being Duke's coach and everything, but it was right there. The Big Ten was really good. The Big East was really good. The ACC was just loaded. Great players. And of course, Michael Jordan played with James Worthy and Brad Daugherty and Sam Perkins and Kenny Smith. But except for his freshman year with Worthy, he was a leading scorer over all those guys in college. He was the better player. Even when those guys were older than him, he was better. You know what I mean? He was just the best player, period. The best player in college after his freshman year. So, probably in sophomore and junior year. Maybe Ralph Sampson was better in 83. But he was top 2 player, say, in his sophomore and junior year. So, when people discount what somebody did, I hate it. Nick Wright said just the other day about, Jordan did win his second round till he was 25 years old. Well, it's like the guy was in college. How can you hold it against him? So anyway, that's it for this video, and until next time.